Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another figure review. This time we're going to be talking about the McFarlane The Walking Dead 10-inch, 25cm Michonne figure. Yeah, there you go. I just picked this up yesterday when I was out shopping with my girlfriend. Picked it up at FYE for about $45 or so, I think. It was a pretty big investment, I guess, especially for someone like me. But, I'd say it's pretty well worth the price. I mean, I've seen stores charge more for figures of this scale and stuff like that, or statues, I should say. So I think it was well worth the price, especially for all the detail they put into this thing, man. Overall, I think it's a really awesome looking statue bust type of thing. It's not really a figure, although it does have a little bit of articulation in like the hands and feet, which kind of help it stand. I have a couple gripes about it, but it's not really so much the figure as it is what came with it. And before we get into that, though, I just want to give you a general look at it. I just think it looks amazing. Now I haven't bought any of the smaller scale McFarlane Walking Dead toys or anything. I've kind of wanted to, but with a lot of those, especially the older ones, the face sculpts or the paint on them are always like really weird or just kind of off as far as the likeness to the actor or character on TV goes. Which is why I've held off on getting like a smaller scale Rick or something. And I also wanted to buy the 10-inch Rick they put out, but the face on that one was just kind of eh. And then they also had a 10-inch Daryl, but it seems like every Daryl figure they make, he always looks like a Latino dude. I don't know. But when I seen that this Michonne was going to be coming out, I really wanted to get it. And honestly, the face sculpt on this one is actually pretty accurate. It's not perfect, of course, but I think it's a lot closer to being dead on than the Daryl and Rick figures of this scale, too. Some people have been questioning the redness in her eyes, like the pink kind of color. At first I found that to be a little weird too, and it still kind of is a bit odd, but of course, how often are these characters awake? They get very, very little sleep, if any. So it kind of makes sense that she'd have a little bit of a awareness in her eyes like that, so I'm just gonna go with that. So it's not really bothering me too much. And that's like the one little gripe I had about the statue itself. But other than that, just look at all the detail in the clothes. Just some great black shading throughout, like in the pants you see some grays mixed in with those really dark blues. Just looks really realistic and really, really well done in my opinion. Even the boots, you can see some dirt and mud and stuff, and then even got some of like the zippers and the little silver things right there. I just think it looks really, really cool. Just a great sculpting detail too. All this is sculpted out. None of it's just painted on or something. So I really like that. Also, the belt itself is really nice too. In my opinion, it has a really nice texture to it. Again, all sculpted. The shirt looks really cool, like sculpted and tucked in like that. Of course, with that black wash going throughout that really light purple type of color, I think looks really cool. And then her little vest here, some browns mixed in with some blacks. Then you have that kind of more bronzy kind of color with the knots and stuff right there. This looks really, really nice. And then you have that main zipper right there. Oh, right there, I mean. I'm sorry if you can't see this too well, but there's one right there. It's really cool. And Charles Prime complaining that there's not enough Michonne back there. I don't know. Of course, I've seen some shots like that on the show and stuff. Maybe there could have been more right there, but it's really not a big deal to me. Of course, I do think Danai Gurira is the most attractive person on the show, but that's just me. But no, it's not. A lot of other people think that too. But, of course, it's not just the character's looks either. Michonne is really probably definitely my favorite female on The Walking Dead. She has been for quite a long time now. And actually, she's my favorite character on the show, second to only Rick at this point. So I really, really wanted to get a a display piece like this, for being as big of a fan of the show as I am. I think it was absolutely necessary, especially when it was almost as dead on as this one is. And then the sword itself, let's see if we can get a look at it. Again, I know it's my webcam, I know it's not the best, but I really think it's painted well. It has a lot of different silvers and grays mixed in with black. It really looks like a real metal, material. Like even Sharmus Prime, thought that was real metal before he, touched it, of course. And then the hilts and stuff like that, as well as the, her hands holding there. Also, the gloves on her hands there are really well detailed, dirty, rugged. Her dreadlocks are really well painted, really well detailed, really well textured. Again, blacks mixed in with browns. This looks really awesome. And like I said, the face sculpt is pretty close to being practically dead on. The teeth are also really well painted. I could see some issues with the teeth, like for depending on the one you get. I could see where there might be some issues with paint going onto the skin, or like the skin going into the teeth or something. But luckily, the one I got doesn't have that issue, and it didn't look like there were a lot of them that did at the store I got them at. I got this at anyway. And the bandana is also really well painted. It's all sculpted. It's not just like a painted on thing. And I don't really see any of the hair, the black hair color bleeding onto the bandana or vice versa or anything like that. So really some great work by McFarlane here, I think, paint-wise and sculpting. It's all really nice. And then the sheath that you can attach to her back here is also really well done. Again, the sculpting, I could say how good the sculpting is forever. It's just all really cool. I don't think you can put the sword into it, which isn't a big deal. There's like a hole opening there, but I haven't actually tried to put it in myself. But my girlfriend did the other day when I was letting her mess around with it, and she said she couldn't get it all the way in there for some reason. But it doesn't really matter, because it's not like she comes with like her arms straight down or something. So you're not just gonna have her standing doing nothing. Each pose that you can get her into is always an action pose. So it's not a big deal that you can't sheath the sword or anything like that. So that's not really an issue to me. But the issue I did have with the set in general, it came with a really cheap black base, just like a circular one. It's probably about like this big. Came with a really little peg, and the idea, of course, is that to help the figure stand like any base. But when I tried to put it on, I tried to get the peg all the way into the little hole in the foot, but it basically broke off. The little peg from the base broke off, and it's now like jammed into the bottom of the foot there. I tried to super glue it, or Gorilla Glue it, whatever, but that didn't really work too well. And the figure is really well made, but the base was just so damn cheap. But that's probably, I've seen that happen with a couple people on Amazon and stuff. But then someone like Sharmus Prime, he was able to get the base working without anything breaking. So I guess it just depends on you, or maybe I jammed it in too much or something, I don't know. But luckily, I will get this little peg out of the foot eventually. But even with the peg in it, I can actually get to stand on its own. I'm gonna make sure to put it like on a surface that won't get like knocked around a lot. Because I'm not exactly sure how stable it is, but it seems stable enough. It's okay. I'll give you an angle. Okay, it's a weird shot, but as you can see, I do have it standing on my desktop right there. So it is possible to stand on its own even without the base. So that's definitely a plus, especially when that base is as breakable as it was. Probably would have been even more cool if we got like an actual base with like a grass, with like some yellows and greens mixed in with maybe like a decapitated walker head, then maybe add a little bit of blood on the katana or something. But it's not a big deal. It would have just driven up the cost a lot more. But as long as it can stand on its own without that cheap little thing, I'm fine, and it can, so I'm happy. Just a really, really nice piece of gear. Huge fan of the show and the character. Like I said, she's my second favorite character on the whole entire thing, minus Rick. I did love Shane too. Shane is my favorite while he was around, but Shane hasn't been around for a long time. I would like to see McFarlane do another Shane figure at some point, because the one of the really early ones I did, that face is just really, really off. So I'd like them to try it again. That'd be cool. Anyway, I can give you a little size comparison here. Of course, like I said, it's 10 inches, 25 centimeters. But just to give you more of a literal idea of how big it is, here's the Michonne Funko Pop, both standing at the same level. So you gotta look at that. I'll also show you the Governor Funko Pop right next to her. So again, standing about the same level, or being held at about the same level, so you get an idea. There you go. And I also didn't show you the package, did I? Usually I do that right at the beginning of the video, but I'll give you a look at it now. Better late than never, right? And there's the package. As you can see, it's pretty nice. I like it. Definitely one I don't mind keeping. I keep certain packages, especially when they're nicer like this. And as you can see, it also does come with 2 sets of arms. You can get her into a sort of a more swinging pose, and the one I have her in right now, it's more like a block type of thing. Yeah, I could easily go back and forth between them, but right now I like the block pose I sort of have her in right now. As you can see. I'll show you the other arm set I have right there. And yeah, I would show you how they get taken in and out and stuff like that. But I did have it is a little bit difficult, at least for me anyway, to get the arms in and out. It can be a little bit tight sometimes, and you know, the sword, you know, basically jamming it into the hands there can be a little bit troublesome at times. But you know, again, maybe I'm not doing it the right way. But it's really not that big of a deal, and a lot of times the arms do go into the sockets pretty easily, or the shoulders I should say. So it's really not a big deal, but I kind of prefer her pose like this at this point. I also really like the sculpting to her arms. I think those are pretty accurate to the show, because Danai Gurira as Michonne, you know, she's not muscular necessarily. She's like really well toned, like, you know, her body and stuff, you know, and I think they did a good job of showing that. You know, she's a healthy girl, you know. She could definitely kick my ass barehanded, so it's definitely evidenced by this figure. So you can see her muscle tone and stuff. I think they did a really good job showing that sculpt wise. Really badass, man. And alright, that's all I really have to say about this statue. Overall, I really, really like it. I'm glad I pulled the trigger and bought it yesterday. It's definitely one of my favorite pieces in my collection now. Definitely going to have this for a very long time. I'm going to take really good care of it. Definitely recommend picking this one up. I would also recommend the other 10-inch figures, but if you're going to buy one and you like the character, I'd say this one's the most worth it, because it's just really unique looking. The character itself is really unique. Herself is really unique, but just the figure, I think it pops more than some of the other ones, and it's, like I said, the likeness is actually pretty close with this. So I recommend picking this one up. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, MoviePilot, and look for InstaWorldDead.com. I'll catch you guys next time, and peace. I will be reviewing those Predator and Alien pops at some point, as well as probably the Michonne pop I just showed off. So you have that to look forward to. And I'm also planning on watching Underworld's Awakening tonight, so I'll probably be doing a review of that sometime soon, probably within the next couple days, so I'll catch you guys for that. And like I said, peace.